Hi everyone, time for another update. I'm working on my GT4 today. Got one heads up from the car inspection that my headlights was going a little bit dim. So I'm changing to actually something more normal. These are Xenon copies I bought from Street Performance, which I was really fond of. I really like the color and everything, but apparently they're getting outdated, so I bought these. Oops, not gonna destroy them quite yet. Some Osram Nightbreaker Laser. Not the most to expect in lifetime, in terms of having them installed for a long while. As you can see here, the lifetime is standard, but the brightness is really high, distance is pretty good, and the light color is pretty much, you know, solid icy white, maybe a little bluish as well. These were more blue Xenon copies, which I really liked, but I'm gonna store them for later. So anywho, changing to these setup, much more normal. Bought these from Mekonomen, which is a standard car shop for parts here in Sweden. Pretty good assortment of items. Highly recommended if you want to buy something more in terms of better brands. So I really like Osram. I've been using them on several of my cars, and they usually does the trick. And in my case, I'm not going to use them very much. I'm going to use them during night time because it's the flip lights here for guys, which is mostly retracted and not used during the day. I'm using the side lights here mostly, and this installation works like this. You have 4 screws like this, and this is the only thing holding up the entire bracket and the headlight. The headlight has a standard socket, as you could see here. You just lift this one up, eject your light bulb, and just reinstall the new ones. The plastic cover that supports the entire frame here and makes the gravel and dust go away is possible to eject from the current position without removing any of the lips and spoilers. This one is in the way in the beginning, but as you push it downwards, you can by force eject the entire plastic cover. So not that hard, and if you want to save some time, you don't have to remove all the screws and everything. There's pretty much of them. So what I discovered as well, this is a good pro tip, is that I have some rust. It's just a fine layer, first degree rust, which is not that far, and I can sandpaper everything down and leave it like that, but I'm just gonna go actually sandpaper and hammer finish, as I usually do, to make the rust decline as much as possible and not start to deteriorate over time. So as you can see here, this bracket here has been more protected than this one, which is pretty rusted. So if it's gonna stand the test of time when it comes to weather, salt, heat and cold, then I really need to prepare this before installation again. So going black hammer finish is usually the easy way to go and cheap. So that's that. Pretty easy setup. It takes a bit of time to screw the screws out from the position It's just a bunch of small ones. Let's see if I have them right here. Pretty small. They're aluminium, which makes it even more irritating to catch them. You can even catch them with a magnet. In this case, you have to catch them with a plier. Usually they end up on the floor anyway. So that's that. From the GT4, fixing the headlights, just an easy swap. Takes some time because it's not an easy normal setup from that kind of a car you usually use with the headlights just there. This is the common case for flip lights. Alright, so this is the tools I'm going to use to refurbish my headlights. And just some leftovers for some hammer finish, or I have some more right here. Just simple hammer finish. And why I'm using this is that it's mostly the most reliable paint that sticks on rust. And it also sustains its life pretty long as well, in terms of having a spray can solution, which can drop off after a while, depending on how much rust, or the surface, depending on the surface material as well. So I'm going with the hammer finish, which I usually use for these kind of refurbish situations. Also using a heating fan because it's really cold outside, and in the garage as well. So I'm not making the paint too rough as well, or because it's this paint is crawling kind of a paint, which makes it more even and better when you let it be on for a while. So in terms of grips and stuff like that, it actually it even sells out for about an hour or so. So if you keep it warm, it looks better. And in this case, it's just the backside of the headlight, so it doesn't really matter. But still, I want to do a good job to make it flat and not rough when it's drying out. So this is what I'm going to use as well. Some sandpaper just to file down the worst of it. Just some newspapers to cover it so the glass doesn't get any paint on the other side. Masking tape to cover the electronics. And that's that. Pretty easy. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so this is the result, and as you could imagine here, the color of this paint is getting a bit dimply. So a lot of dimples here. But this has tricked me several times before when using hammer finish, because it's supposed to look like this, especially if you have humidity in the air, or if it's really cold inside or outside. But if you still keep it warm enough when it's drying, this color, this paint will still crawl into the right position, and it doesn't going to look like this as it does right now when it's wet. But all in all, I'm not going to do any more painting. I mean, this is enough for me for having a back cover of the headlights protected from additional rust buildup. So I'm done with this. I'm just going to let this dry before installing it back onto the GT4. And we'll get back for some end results when it's all installed. So here we go. All the masking tape and everything is removed, and as you can see, the paint has crawled into place a little better. I just made one cover of fill with the hammer finish, and it's still a little sticky. It's been drying out during the night, and it probably needs like another 24 hours or so, but I'm still going to install them because they can dry up in the car, because they're going to be slightly elevated in the casing. It's going to be good as well. I even managed to save one of the instruction stickers for the rubber covers. So all in all, pretty good work for being a fast paint job, just to cover the rust and trying to prevent it for more rust as time goes by. So now it's time for the installation. Let's see if everything works. So everything is in position. Let's try these babies out. Looking good. So that was the complete installation and refurbish of rust protection and everything. And the installation worked great with no cracks or anything. Let's see if those Osram headlights will do the trick. And maybe we'll get to make some other interesting mods in the future with headlights, who knows. But for now, this is roadworthy. See ya!